Hi team, welcome into the next video in the elderly care series, and today we're going to be looking at doing an initial assessment. So with Ruth, we didn't need to do all of this very invasive care for her up front. All of that came at the end. But when it did come time to start implementing that, we did have to do an initial assessment. And these are some of the ways that I was able to go through that assessment process. And really, we're going to do a quick overview. This is a lot, and any one of these points we could take and actually look at for a couple of hours. So hopefully in subsequent videos we'll go into more detail. But for here, let's just put out a list and give you an initial idea of what you're going to be looking at. First note that I've got here is to vet all of the alternatives. Okay, if there's a way that you can take this individual and have them transition into an elderly care facility with trained medical professionals, absolutely recommend that. Okay, Ruth did not go to an elderly care facility, and frankly she didn't want to. One of the reasons why is because, as I was saying in the previous video, her and her husband, my grandfather John, ran an elderly care facility for 30 years. She said she spent her whole life in elderly care. She wanted to stay at home. So we really tried to do everything that we could to have that wish come true, which ultimately we were able to do. We're very happy and proud about that. But really, if we didn't have our background and her situation wasn't so unique for this, probably would have gone a different way. And I absolutely recommend that you vet all other elderly care facilities or all other options before taking this on yourself. Second thing is going to be an assessment of medical needs. What's her current condition? What does she need medically? Are you going to be able to provide that? You want to have an understanding of this before going in, so you know kind of the level of effort that's going to be required. And that kind of goes into the third point, which is the level of care needed. So with those medical needs and anything else, medical or otherwise, what is the level of care that this individual is going to need? You got to have a good understanding of that. Financial readiness. What is the financial readiness of the individual that's being cared for and of the person that's doing the caretaking? You need to have an understanding of that. Their situation, is everything paid for? Is everything coming out of pocket? Are they on Social Security? Do they have a retirement account? Do they have savings? You're going to need to know, or at least have an idea and an understanding of that before taking this on, because it will come up, and it's the only way that you can get a true, accurate idea of whether or not this in-home care thing is going to be feasible. And then financial readiness for yourself as you being the caretaker. And here's what I recommend a good candidate, or one of the attributes of a good candidate that's going to assist in this in-home elderly care is going to be this: somebody that is working, has a job, has a career, can choose to live on their own if they want, but they're choosing instead to assist with this loved one situation, because optics matter, and your family's eyes are going to be on you. And what you don't want to do is put yourself in a situation where it looks like you might be misstewarding or taking advantage of the situation. You absolutely want to avoid that at all costs. I mean, these are the kind of things that can cause undue friction within a family or break a family up. You want to avoid all of that, okay? So you yourself, as a caretaker, need to be financially ready and independent regardless of how this situation plays out. The living conditions. Is the house, apartment, whatever it might be, even in good enough shape for the client, for the customer, to be able to stay there long term? Is the roof falling in? You're going to have to address that. You're going to need to know that. Is the dishwasher broke? When is it getting fixed? What are all of the attributes of that living condition in order for you to have an understanding of what it is that you're walking into and signing up for? And also with the living conditions, are you going to be staying with the customer as well? I did. I stayed at Ruth's house while I was caring for her, and I needed to make sure that I had a setup for that. I needed to make sure I had a room and a bathroom and everything that would make my life functional so I could still live my life. One thing that you want to avoid when you're doing this is to, quote, put your life on hold so that you can assist them. If you're able to still continue with your life and do this, that's absolutely the way that I would recommend going about it. But the living conditions, not just for the customer, but for yourself, especially if you're going to be staying there with them. What is your current relationship with the customer? Are you even close with them? Are you even in a close proximity with them? With Ruth and me, she was just my grandmother for the longest time, and we would do traditional family things together, Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner. She'd give me $100 every now and then, and it was just this basic, straightforward relationship, grandmother and grandchild. And then when John died, it changed, and her and John, they always did their own thing. You would never catch them being separated, or she's doing a trip and he's at home, or vice versa. They were always together. And so they never came down, or she never came and spent any time with me one-on-one. But when he died, she started doing a lot more of that, and our relationship started to grow. And then when it was time to actually take the next step, which is, hey, Grandma, I want to start helping you in a more direct way, we'd already built that foundational relationship. So I'm saying that to say that if you're this person, whoever it is, again, for me, it was my grandmother, but whoever you're trying to figure out how you want to care for them, or if you want to care for them in this particular way, what is your current relationship like with them? Do you live in one state and then they live on the other side of the country? It's probably not a good fit. You probably don't have that deeper relationship built. You probably don't know enough about each other in order to move forward with this thing confidently. You're going to want to consider that. I'd also recommend taking a fierce spiritual inventory. Okay, I've got two ways that I present this information. One is secular, one's non-secular. The first way I'll say it is, what is your why? Why you? Why do you want to do this? Why do you think you'd be a good candidate for it? You really need to have rock solid answers to that question, because it will come up. And I say that not that people are going to be asking you what your why is, although it could happen, but it will come up where there will be trials and hardships, and you're going to think to yourself, man, what am I even doing here? You know what I mean? And it's important that you know, and that you can always go back and lean on to that. And the second way I have that question answered is, who is Jesus Christ? Because I'm a faith-based individual, and I believe the reason why I was postured to assist her, and the thing that kept me sane and solid and straightforward, was because of my faith base. So it's something for you to consider, but it's applicable to whoever you are, even if you don't have the same spiritual alignment that I do. So again, we could go into an hour on any one of these points, but we're just doing a quick list, initial assessment. If you've got any questions or anything, hit me up. Mario at the Alpha Italian. Give me your name and your location. I'd love to help you with any of your in-home elderly care questions, and I'll see you for the next video.